A professional wrestler is roped into babysitting a 10-year-old on his night off. But lucky for her, as they have to defend themselves from demonic home invaders. He's laying the smackdown on these mask-wearing dickheads and sending them back to hell with as much blood and gore as the film's budget can afford in Here for Blood. Hello there, you loose units, and welcome back to another episode of Spicy Boy Reviews. I'm, of course, your host, Andrew Iles. That's right, Here for Blood came out in 2022, directed by Daniel Torres, who's known for directing a low-budget farce by the name of Terry's Car Gets Stolen, and this. We meet professional wrestler Tom O'Bannon, who looks like a poor man's Jack Reacher. Played by Sean Roberts, who you may remember cosplaying as Trinity in the Resident Evil franchise. Turns out his college girlfriend has a really big test to study for before tomorrow, and she ends up handballing her babysitting gig to her boyfriend without informing the parents of the child, which can only go well. And apparently it does, because discount Jack Reacher rocks up to this rich person's farmhouse and meets 10-year-old gamer Grace. And she has no fucks to give. And it seems it runs in the family, because Grace's parents don't give a shit either. They're totally cool with leaving this roided up, 6'2", 200-pound, 38-year-old man alone with their daughter. But Jack Reacher Light is a good guy. He orders them pizza, they play video games, and talk extensively, really quietly about shit that has nothing to do with the plot to pad out that running time. That is until Sting shows up and kills the pizza delivery man. And it seems he's brought his masked friends as well. They couldn't get into the mansion of Eyes Wide Shut, so they decide to terrorise Tom and Grace. But Tom wipes the floor with his amateurs in the grossest, goriest ways possible. And also, unfortunately, in the process, suffers an injury himself that would totally need amputating. But don't get bogged down in details. Here, have a funny quip! Tom's girlfriend and her two couple friends show up to be cannon fodder for these home invaders. And the over-the-top gore fest continues. Actor Sean Roberts is trying really hard to be the charismatic leading man here. He's giving it a red-hot go, but unfortunately he's given overwriting, trying to lighten the mood, and they're sort of giving him a character, a pseudo Ash vs. the Evil Dead vibe. The film is marketed as a comedy horror, but really, honestly, you probably only get one funny line. The film is painfully slow, and honestly very dull, and very low budget. But it wasn't until the last third of the film when Sean Roberts seems like he's growing and getting comfortable into the role and having a bit more fun. And he comes across as quite funny and charming in the last third. And there is, of course, a twisty twist at the end that borrows heavily from Cabin in the Woods, just without the monsters, scares, and tension. The blood and gore is definitely on display here, and obviously the point of focus for the shoot. You get oodles of blood, heaps of gross out gags, and some nice low-budget effects. And when I say low budget, I mean like 100 times cheaper looking than The Room. For me, the film looked way too crisp and clean, coming across sort of like a film student vibe. I think this film would have really helped with like a grainy VHS filter over the top of it. It would have helped with the cheesiness and the cheapness of it all, having it come across as more endearing and charming, and a lot more tongue-in-cheek. The acting is expectedly horrendous, but that's not necessarily a bad thing for a low-budget horror film. It's obvious that they cast all these local wrestlers in the film, and maybe perhaps one or two adult actors. In saying that, the film feels and looks like a porno without the rooting. Dee Snider from Twisted Sister also makes a cameo with his voice as a severed ancient head that loves eating flesh. The film has a really fun concept, honestly, turning the trope of the babysitter being antagonised by home invaders, turning it on its head. Having a professional wrestler instead of a female college student who is more than capable of kicking all kinds of ass. But unfortunately, it does fall flat with the concept, and it's overbloated by having, the home invaders be this devil-worshipping cult. It's trying, though, really hard. It's almost like one of those films you'd see on Red Letter Media episode of Best of the Worst. And the film is just shy of 2 hours, but by God, it felt longer. It is, however, an attempt at a horror comedy exploitation, and I'll give it some points for that. And like I said, the last third was fine, but by the end of it, I was just tired and didn't give a shit. Unfortunately, this film fell short for me, but however, these guys are making movies, and I am not. But anyway, guys, that's my cheeky little review of Here for Blood. Write down below if you've seen it. What are your thoughts on it? But more importantly, what is your favourite low-budget comedy horror? And of course, you made it this far into the episode. Please give me a thumbs up because your love and support keeps me going, because I just love movies and I assume you do as well. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe icon because I give it an episode weekly. And I'll see you back here next week for the next review. And until then, stay spooky, kids.